Doing, Sarah? How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Nice to meet you. I'm happy to be doing this today.
Oh, I love the desert. I've seen it like now two times, and it's going to be a third time after I get off this interview with you. Now, the
Oh,
first thing I want to ask you, right, is not really, well, maybe two questions. What was it like when you started reading the screenplay?
um, it was sort of immersive because Josh sent a playlist. He sent photography. He sent film lists that are like a long list of film references and ones that are sort of in dialogue with the desert. But the playlist itself was so good, like all really cool jazz, some
Hmm.
of which I knew, some of which I didn't. And then, yeah, to have this like jazzy soundtrack with these beautiful like photography in
Hmm.
mind while I was reading such a like oblique noir and oblique script.
Yes,
I was
yes,
pretty
yes.
excited. Yeah.
Um, and like, are you sort of drawn to the more like you do have a lot of horror credits, so you do. Are you sort of drawn to the more darker side of cinema?
I would say I am, though not exclusively horror. I think like I just kind of I think I'm a fairly morbid person, and so in the horror genre, obviously that gets explored more explicitly.
And do you think you're able to express yourself a lot more with your acting ability in like movies like A Desert?
Sometimes it depends. Yeah, sometimes. I mean, like there are certain types of horror movies where like you're running away and screaming,
Yes,
and you're
yes.
covered in blood, which I also enjoy. It's great
Hmm.
fun, and it's also really fun to be like, how what do you do with that when like really all you're doing in this movie is trying to escape?
Yeah, yeah, I
But
get
a
you.
movie like A Desert, which is more dramatic than genre in a lot of ways. Yeah, there's a lot to do, and I think it's really fun and it's nice to like when you have a bit of that horror element to be able to crank up the volume on stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Can't
Like
always.
you like in A Desert, you like the last half is where it gets pretty gnarly, and like you are featured in the last half, and I. It was like when I was talking to Joshua last week. It's hard to sort of come up with questions because I don't want to. It's better if you go in and you experience this movie like not knowing what's coming, and even if you have an idea of what's coming, then you're going to be wrong. So
Yeah.
what was like say like I'll just say one of the most one of the most extreme scenes in it, the theater scene. What was that actually on the shoot? Was it a feel good day when the camera said cut, or was there a point where you were like going, holy shit, what am I doing here?
No, I like acting, so like it doesn't matter what what's happening. It's
Uh-huh.
fun for me. Josh actually has a picture of me right after they called cut, um, where things had been really intense, and it was just like screaming and
Yeah.
retching and crying, and then I'm just like
Yeah.
grinning ear to ear
Loved it.
afterwards. So it was a lot of fun. And Zachary Ray Sherman, like he showed up ready to be weird. Like on take one, he had his hand in my mouth, and I was just like, "What?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh man, we're really going for it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's good fun.
That's really cool. Like he was very, very good as well. Like the whole cast were really, really good. And it was like one of those films where it's very minimalistic, there's not a lot of like modernization, even though it's set in modern times. There's not a lot of cast, but everybody serves a really important purpose for the actual movie to get to where it's going. So like
Yeah.
with Zachary, I was saying to Joshua, it was like within the first like 10 minutes, I text my friend. I remember watching the film, text my friend going, "Dude, this is really reminding me in California, the Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis movie from the '90s." And then within 5 minutes, I'm like, "Holy shit! It's completely swapped genres now again." And with Zachary in that scene that you're saying, how was he like off camera? Because Joshua was saying that he really got into it. He lost a lot of weight for the role, and he was really dedicated. So did he maintain a little bit of that craziness when the camera said cut, or no?
No, he's a total pro. So
Mm-hmm.
he was fully in control of what he was doing, fully aware of what he was doing, and then when they like let us off our leashes or whatever, like everyone's just ready to play. So
Uh-huh.
it was
That's
really good
really
time.
cool. And like
Yeah,
you were saying that Joshua, that's actually really interesting because he sent you a playlist and stuff. Was
yeah.
that very much through? Was there music on the set, or was it you just had it in your head?
Yeah, yeah, I had it in my head, and I think it helped to, like, when you read a script, you don't you don't know what the movie is going to
Hmm.
be. There's no way to know, right? And even with everything that Josh sent, I still didn't know. There was no way to sort of expect what it was ultimately going to be. But it helped me have more ideas and sort of to latch onto it and to trust too that the filmmaker, we share a lot of sensibilities, and that what he was going for was something I was really interested in and excited about.
Hmm.
Um, on set was, I felt like it was quite relaxed. It was super friendly, like really easygoing. Maybe Josh wouldn't necessarily agree, but I feel like it was pretty smooth sailing and for the most part, and that was, it was wonderful.
Cool. That there, I think when I was saying talking to Josh last week as well, he was saying that he went out to the desert beforehand. A lot of stuff made sense after watching the movie too. Like when I was saying, like the desert itself is pretty much a character in this movie. The cinematography is absolutely beautiful, and the cinematography was very important. Who he got for the cinematography, and so did you experience? How was your thing on the desert? Was that just very just wide, vast, and or was it like you were just there for the shot and then you were gone?
I mean, I wasn't even really in the desert on those days very much. I just wasn't in a lot of those scenes, which was sort of, I wanted to be there more because, first of all, like, we all just got very close, and it was
Mm-hmm.
such a tight group. I wanted to be part there for part of it, but I also wanted to see the scenes and see the locations. But it's like it's about 3 hours from LA.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like Josh grew up in Southern California, so he was more familiar with the desert than I was. I grew up in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and that landscape was very alien to me until I came down here. And it took me a while to warm up to it, honestly. Like
Mm-hmm.
I looked at it and I was like, everything's dead. Like everything's just
Yes.
dusty, and like it looks like you're on the either the bottom of the ocean or the surface of the moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was really unsettling, and it took some time before I was like, oh, the life here is just like different and very specifically adapted
Mm-hmm.
to this situation. And I love it now. It is still unsettling, you know.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I've seen.
it, it, yeah, like it never lets you forget.
Yeah.
Like it can take you at any minute. Like
Yeah.
you're completely powerless against.
And like you do have a very sort of like the first half of the movie when we're introduced to your character, you're sort of you 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 are like a loving wife to this man, and you do believe in what. Do you reckon that you believed in the character, in his character, the photographer character? That's why stuff progressed the way it did, or did you think it was going to be maybe like it was coming towards the end of a relationship and you needed to find closure?
Yeah, I don't think it was towards the end, but I think things had been tensions had been building. Josh and I talked about how sometimes in a relationship, one character is like the creative one, the freewheeling one,
Mm-hmm.
like takes up a little more space, is more exciting, their lifestyle's more exciting, they're sort of like granted more passes in life, and the other one kind of holds down the fort. Um, and then that's great and that's fine, but that's also a very difficult dynamic to sustain, and to sort of make sure that it's balanced. So I think that there was some exhaustion and probably resentment
Mm-hmm.
that Sam had been feeling, but also Alex. I think it's difficult for both of them, but I don't think they were going to break up. I think there was so much unsaid that ultimately doesn't get said, but is, I think, part of what the sort of release at the end of the movie explores a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And like the end, like I'm not going to go into spoilers. It sort of leaves a lot open to interpretation, like
Yeah.
what happens. And I was saying to Josh, like man, I've got still got some questions here, and he's like, right, hit me up afterwards, and I can answer your questions. But I really do love that. Did you get that sense when you were reading the script as well, where you were just like going, right, okay, things could go either way here, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. I was reading it and was like, okay, it's this kind of movie. I get it, I get it. And there were a couple of moments that like really stood out that were exciting for me. In particular, the moment where Rennie counts to 24,
Yes, yes.
kind of in real time. I loved reading it. I love that piece of the movie.
Hmm.
Um, but when I got to the end of the movie, and it did change, not a ton, but like significantly from what I read initially to what it ended up being in the
Hmm.
movie. But once I got to that ending, I was like, oh, I have to go back to the beginning because I was imagining a completely different film.
Hmm.
You know, and so now that I know that this is how it culminates, I'm going to reread it with fresh eyes.
Uh-huh.
And in the script, it read to me very much like I was like, okay, it's a moody, noir horror film, and then at the end, all of a sudden, it's this like psychedelic Ken Russell freak out,
Yeah.
and I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, like, and what was the shot process? Were you get did you get to do the like the drama shots then play the wife and before you went, or was it shot in like sequence and then you got the hardcore stuff afterwards?
yeah, it was largely in sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Thankfully, David and I had a lot of time to rehearse our first scene together in the movie, which was helpful because it was trimmed down quite a bit. It was like an 11-minute scene
Mm-hmm.
actually. So I think Josh was like toying with the idea of having us not meet, like the first time we meet is when we start the scene, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, that can backfire too,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, we had a lot of time to work through that. But that was the first scene that I shot, which is my character's introduction.
Uh-huh. And so, like, what's next for A Desert? Do you know, like, well, there's going to be released very soon? The response I'm saying is very. What has been the response that you have received so far from the movie?
It's been really positive, and I love how freaked out people seem to be by it,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit like um, not stymied, but just a little like
Yeah.
befuddled, you know, like
Yeah, I can
it's
get that. I can get that 100%. As I say,
yeah, yeah,
I love like the real dark cinema, the bleak cinema. I love stuff that really sort of like just leaves your stomach feeling uneasy, like feeling that you need to go take a shower afterwards.
yeah. I mean, you
Um,
have Ichi the Killer over your shoulder, so yeah,
oh yeah, I've got
yeah,
Itchy the Killer. So like that's a little. I got Itchy the Killer. I Saw the Devil, another one of my personal favorites.
exactly. One of the best.
And
Yeah,
then I got the Monster Squad, which is like,
yeah, well
but
rounded.
yeah, well rounded. But yeah, I think I sort of grew up on the sort of light-hearted stuff and all, and I was like, hold on, everything's very samey, and that is why I do sort of really go for these sort of type of movies, and why Josh is like it was his debut as well, his feature length debut. I was so impressed with that, and it's like I cannot wait now to see what's next. And he told me a little snippet of what he's got planned. I think it's called The Arsonist,
Yeah.
something that he's got next, and I'm just looking to see him progress. Because if that's his first film, then my goodness, we're going to see something really special. Not that a desert isn't very
Yeah.
special, but I love that the way that it just goes in. It sort of holds two fingers up to censorship. There's none of like the trying to water it down so it would suit a younger audience. It's dark, it's nasty, it goes places you wouldn't expect to go, and once it gets going, it just doesn't let up, until
Yeah.
the credits roll. So, have you any more horror like on the go now, or what is your next project that you're going to be doing? Are you going to pick some romantic comedy or something now after A Desert?
I'd be happy to. I mean, I don't feel like loyal to any particular
Yeah, yeah,
genre,
yeah.
but I had a part in Lynn Ramsey's movie Die My Love that's going to be at Cannes. So
Okay, yes.
yeah,
Oh, I love Lynn Ramsey. Yes, very, very
me too.
important.
Yeah,
Very, very important filmmaker. Another master of the absolute bleakness as well.
absolutely, absolutely. But she's like got like such, I don't know how she does what she does. Like there's a gentleness and a
Mm-hmm.
sweetness to her movies while they're also like very brutal. And I feel like what one of the things I love most about her movies is that she like so easily like makes space to like explore like unsanctioned feelings, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just like all
Yes.
these sort of taboo reactions to very difficult, more or less regular events, and it's just I don't. No one makes movies like she does.
Yeah.
She's a hero. So yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit about what do you call it, this one? The Lynn
it's
Ramsey?
called Guy My Love,
Yep. Okay, I did.
and it's premiering at Cannes. So
So very, very
hopefully,
soon.
yeah, very soon.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson and Nick Nolte and Sissy Spacek and Lakeith Stanfield, and it's based on an Argentinian novella
Mm-hmm.
that's about at least ostensibly. I don't fully know what the movie's going to end up being when I see it,
Mm-hmm.
but
Of course.
it explores a woman's mental state postpartum and in her relationship. So it deals with madness, possibly,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, yeah, is she losing it, or is she like reacting sensibly to a world that's mad? I don't know.
Uh-huh.
So
That sounds like I once I know now that Lynn Ramsey has. I seen that I was looking at the IMDb and I was like, oh, Die My Love, and I didn't go into it. And now I'm like, why didn't I go into that? Because then I would have found out that's the new Lynn Ramsey movie. But that's quite a cast as well, like for that movie. How was that?
a dream come true. I couldn't stop smiling the
Yeah.
entire time. I mean, like truly, it was the highest point of my career. Like
Uh-huh.
a genuine honor.
That's
Yeah,
it's a great cast, but Nick Nolte, my God, the Nick Nolte, he is the man, And
yeah.
Robert Pattinson, I love Robert Pattinson
What a
since,
career, right?
yeah,
Like,
very very good. He's sort of went now in that sort of path where he's choosing really independent stuff, and it's great. And
yeah, impeccable taste. It's remarkable.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that as well. You were also in Wolf Cop.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love Wolf Cop and I love Wolf Cop 2. I love the both of them. I just love the creativity that Loyal Dean is that how loyalty?
Lowell, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been in some cool stuff, and I can't
Yeah.
wait to see more. I can't wait to see Die My Love now as well, and I can't wait. I'm actually going to go down and watch A Desert with one of my friends again as well because I have the
Awesome.
screener. So I'm just going to watch it again and shock someone all over again. But I'll leave it there. That's us now. But thank you so much, Sarah, for talking to me.
Thank you.
A pleasure, and I really can't wait to see you in other stuff. And I can't wait for people to see A Desert as well because it's going to blow people away, especially genre lunatics like ourselves, like myself, that wants a little bit of the darker and the nasty side, but it
Yeah.
still remains very human and grounded at the same time. So it's a remarkable achievement. So well done, and
Thank you.
yeah. I will talk to you soon. Thank you very much for the interview. I loved it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Bye bye. See you.
Take care.
See you.
Bye.